Good afternoon, everybody. You are listening to the Afternoon Twist with your special host, Psychobagapus, and his co-host, Kayla. Psychobagapus, good afternoon to you, and welcome to the Afternoon Twist.
Good afternoon, Rob, and welcome all of CB Radio Drama Free, everybody on Twitch, everybody on YouTube. We're leading up to Christmas, and this is the Afternoon Twist, the weekly news show that likes to keep you in touch with what's going on. I have some stories for you, Kayla has some stories for you, and I'm starting off the show this week with a very cute, cuddly story about a baby, rare white baby reindeer. This baby reindeer has been pictured in the mountains of northern Norway. Photographer Mads Nordsven from Oslo in Norway was on a hiking trip with his friends when he spotted the reindeer. He was walking through the mountains looking for nice landscapes for his travel photography when he saw this little guy. Okay, I'm having technical difficulties. Not quite sure what happened there. Right, photographer Mads Nordsven from Oslo in Norway was on a hiking trip with friends when he spotted the reindeer. He was walking through mountains looking for nice landscapes for his travel photography when he saw the little guy. Mads said he came very close to me and we looked at each other straight in the eyes. He was quite relaxed when he saw that I was calm and friendly. It was almost as if he posed for the camera. He was very curious and fun, like a little explorer. After some minutes, the mother and baby reindeer came out of trees just behind. It walked around for some minutes before returning back to its mother. It was a very special and fairy tale moment. Maybe one day we'll meet again. So, white reindeer. Not exactly Rudolph, but cute and cuddly. Oh, yeah. Have you any Christmassy items and themes for me, Kayla?
No, I do not, but do have plenty of other stories for everybody.
Okay, let's go with your first story then.
Okay, I have kind of a weird and unusual story for everybody this week. It's about a man dying after swallowing a live slug. Yes, back in 2010, a teenage rugby player in Australia named Sam Ballard accepted an unusual dare at a party, swallowing a live garden slug. The experience left him paralyzed with significant brain damage, and on November 2nd, Ballard died in a Sydney hospital at the age of 28. The strange and sad case occurred because along with the slug, Ballard had swallowed a parasite commonly known as a rat lungworm, which the slug likely picked up from rat droppings. Rat lungworm infection can lead to bacterial meningitis, which may include symptoms such as headaches, nausea, vomiting, and abnormal sensations in the arms and legs, according to the CDC. Typically, rat lungworm infections get better without treatment, but in some cases, serious complications can occur and cause severe disruption of the nervous system or even death. In the days after swallowing the slug, Ballard developed pains in his legs and was hospitalized after spells of persistent dizziness and vomiting. Doctors diagnosed him with a rat lungworm infection, and he fell into a coma that lasted 420 days. After Ballard emerged from the coma, he was paralyzed from the neck down, had difficulty communicating, and required round-the-clock care. Ballard's story made headlines earlier this year after medical funding used for his care and provided by the Australian government's National Disability Insurance was reduced by half. The government eventually reversed the decision following extensive media coverage and an appeal by Ballard's family. People can avoid exposure to the rat lungworm parasite by avoid eating raw or undercooked slugs and snails, frogs, land crabs, and freshwater shrimp. Well, would anybody eat live slugs, or has anybody ever eaten cooked slugs, or any of those things?
No way, and never will, never would, yeah.
Well, I definitely agree. That is something I definitely would not eat there, Eagle Mama.
Yeah, I don't think I fancy eating slugs either. I don't know, you might get me interested in maybe cricket or maybe some mealworms, but definitely not slugs. Okay, right, next story is how to drive safely in floods and heavy rain, and it's by Auto Express. Right, winter creates visions of snow, ice and freezing conditions, which can be among the trickiest ones to drive in. But in the UK, you're more likely to encounter heavy rain and flooded roads when you're driving in winter. That doesn't mean life is any easier, though. In fact, wet driving can be harder than anything. But our top tips for driving in the wet are designed to prepare you should you encounter the worst. The first thing you really need to ask yourself is whether your journey is necessary. If you're at home and no bad weather is coming, can your can your journey be put off till later? Right. If you're at work, is there anything you can do to postpone your trip? With so many communication options available, it might be more valuable to work at home or do anything to help put off driving in bad weather. If you're caught in bad weather, you really need to adjust your driving to suit and not simply carry on regardless. Wipers and headlights are vital tools in your armoury to keep safe when it is wet. It's worth fitting a new set of wiper blades ahead of the weather changing so they clear the screen effectively, while it's also worth checking all your lights are working and changing any bulbs that might have blown. If the weather closes in, it's worthwhile turning your lights on even in the middle of the day. Lights can deteriorate quickly in bad weather, and spray can reduce this further. Even if you think you can see perfectly, having your lights on can help other drivers see you too. Rear fog lights are a bit of a contentious issue. They should only be used when visibility is severely limited in fog. However, if it is wet, the glare reflection caused by rear fog lights can outshine your brake lights. So turn off their fog lights when you turn the ignition off. It's also handy to check they're off when conditions don't require them. Wet roads can double stopping distances, So it's essential that you increase the distance between you, your car, and the one in front to reflect this. Fitting new tyres can also ensure you have plenty of tread to deal with water on the roads and give you plenty to grip in the wet. If it's been raining heavily, puddles and standing water can form at the roadside and even accumulate on the road itself. If the surface is poor, if it's been raining for extended periods, then streams can also form across the road. If you have to drive through standing water, slow down to pass through it. Go too quickly. Pass through it. Go too quickly, and not only will you spray other road users and possibly pedestrians, but your car could aquaplane over the water, causing you to temporarily lose control of your car. In this situation, there's too much water for the tyre tread to cut through, and the tread skids over the surface instead. The main sensation you will feel if this happens is the steering going light in your hands. If you do drive through water, try to keep the car as stable as possible by going smooth with your inputs. Jerky steering, throttle and brake inputs can unsettle the car, which is more likely to see you lose control. Whatever you do, slow down, and whatever you do, slow and steady is better way to drive in heavy rain. That way you will arrive at your destination safely. Right. Driving through water carelessly can be extremely dangerous. Go too fast and the bow wave you cause could drench other road users, while the water could find its way into the engine bay. If it then finds its way into the air intake and is ingested by the engine itself, the pistons won't be able to compress the water, causing what's known as hydrolock and engine failure. And be sure to avoid crossing fast-flowing water. If you don't know its depth, you could see your car being lifted and carried away downstream before you even know it. If you need to cross a flooded road, the first thing you should do is approach in the middle of the road. UK roads are crowned. The highest part is the middle, with the sides set lower to allow rain water to drain off. So the middle of the road will be the shallowest section of the flooded area. Approach at low speed, but be sure to maintain your speed and continue through without stopping. When the flood is severe, you're in a queue of cars, then it is best for each car to pass through one by one. The last thing rescue services need to have to reach more than one car in a flooded area. Doing this will also give you a better idea of whether it's safe for you to cross the flooded area in your car. Once you have passed through the water, always try your brakes. This will wipe water from their surfaces so that they are back to normal operation when you need them. If your car becomes stuck in deep water, don't attempt to restart the engine, or you'll risk turning a big repair bill into a huge one that you could write off your car. Wait for the car to dry out and get professional inspection before trying to drive it. Right, so winter driving conditions. Dangerous. I'm sure people have stories about floods and snow and
Alright, so my next story for everybody is about Puerto Rico. It comes from NBCnews.com, and it's about the rising sea levels, and thousands of Puerto Rico's coastal structures are vulnerable to future increases in sea levels, according to a new climate report released 2 weeks ago. Nearly 8,000 structures in the island's low-lying areas, as well as drinking water and sanitation pipelines, are said to be at risk by an increase in sea level of 1.6 feet. If that increase extends to 6.5 feet, more than 50,000 structures are susceptible, resulting in approximately $11.8 billion in losses. The territory is still reeling from the widespread infrastructure damage left by Hurricane Maria in 2017. The government submitted a report to Congress in August requesting $139 billion as the amount it needs to recover, making it one of the most expensive hurricanes in U.S. history. Report predicts that rising sea temperatures in the region will only increase the maximum intensity of hurricanes by the end of the century. In response, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service and Puerto Rico's Department of Natural and Environmental Resources have commissioned various wetland and dune restoration projects, along with
Kayla, technical difficulties, carry on.
Yeah, so Puerto Rico seems to be in trouble by the environmental problems that our world is facing. Not sure if I would want to move down there now after hearing that.
Okay, right. My next story is about the 1,000 mile an hour Bloodhound supersonic car. Right. The project to develop the Bloodhound supersonic car, which aimed to hit speeds of 1,000 miles an hour, has been scrapped. Bloodhound Program, the firm behind the initiative to break the land speed world record, went into administration in October. Today, administrators at FRP Advisory announced that efforts to secure an investor had failed. Andrew Sheridan, joint administrator and partner at the firm, said, "Since the company entered into administration, we have worked tirelessly with directors to identify a suitable individual or organisation who could take the project forward, despite overwhelming public support. The engagement with a wide range of potential and credible investors, it has not been possible to secure a purchaser for the business and assets. We will now work with key stakeholders to return the third-party equipment and then sell the remaining assets of the company to maximise the return for creditors." Project Bloodhound was founded in 2007 with plans to race the car at a specially built track in the deserts of South Africa. The team was seeking £25 million in investment to provide guaranteed funding and see the project to completion. Over 11 years, Bloodhound operated on a partnership and sponsorship model, with support from companies including Rolls-Royce and Rolex. The Ministry of Defence lent prototype jet engines for the car, whilst Northern Cape Provincial Government in South Africa supported the creation of the track. Members of the public also donated to support the car's development and global education program, which reached more than 2 million children. Last year, Bloodhound reached speeds of 200 miles an hour during tests at Newquay Airport in Cornwall. At 1,000 miles an hour, the supersonic car would have covered a mile in 3.6 seconds. The world land speed record is 763 miles an hour and is held by Thrust SSC, led by Bloodhound's project director Richard Noble and driver Andy Green. So, The world land speed record will remain at 763 miles an hour for now. Yes. Thunderbird 1 is ready for launch. Or not. Any views on travelling at speeds of up to 1,000 miles an hour? Okay, Kayla. Time to move on to the next story.
Alright, I have some things for this week in history for you all. Alright, first of all, in 1791, composer Wolfgang Mozart died in Vienna, Austria at age 35. In 1848, President James K. Polk triggered the gold rush of '49 by confirming that gold had been discovered in California. In 1901, movie producer Walt Disney was born in Chicago. In 1932, German physicist Albert Einstein was granted a visa, making it possible for him to travel to the United States. In 1945, 5 U.S. Navy torpedo bombers mysteriously disappeared after taking off from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, on a training mission with the loss of all 14 crew members. The last squadron contributed to the legend of the Bermuda Triangle. In 1790, Congress moved to Philadelphia from New York. In 1865, the 13th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution abolishing slavery was ratified as Georgia became the 27th state to endorse it. In 1884, Army engineers completed construction of the Washington Monument by setting on aluminum capstone atop the obelisk. In 1989, 14 women were shot to death at the University of Montreal's School of Engineering by a man who then took his own life. In 1917, during World War I, the United States declared war on Austria-Hungary. In 1941, Japan launched a surprise attack on the U.S. Navy base at Pearl Harbor in Hawaii as part of its plan to conquer Southeast Asian territories. The raid, which claimed some 2,400 American lives, prompted the United States to declare war against Japan the next day. In 1946, fire broke out at the Wyckoff Hotel in Atlanta. The blaze killed 119 people, including hotel founder W. Frank Wyckoff. And in 1988, a major earthquake in the Soviet Union devastated northern Armenia. Official estimates put the death toll at 25,000. All right, wow. A lot of stuff going on this week, and it's back to you there, Psycho Bagpuss.
Right. I'm sure some people have been affected on CB Radio Drama Free by the O2 data coverage problem. Right. O2 to compensate customers over service outage. O2 has confirmed it will compensate users affected by the technical fault that took the mobile network's data service offline. The company said its 3G and 4G data networks, which were knocked offline by a software issue, was restored to normal. Some O2 customers also reported being unable to send and receive text messages, but O2 said that this has also been resolved. The firm said it will be giving its pay monthly small and medium business and mobile broadband customers credit for 2 days of monthly airtime subscription charges to be issued by the end of January. Pay-as-you-go customers are to be given 10% credit on top-up with the new year, O2 said, adding it will let customers know when this is available. O2 said pay-as-you-go mobile broadband customers would receive a 10% discount on bolt-on purchase, which are additional call, text and data bundles that can be purchased at any time. We're very sorry about yesterday's data issue. We understand how important it is to stay connected, especially at this time of year, a company spokeswoman said. We'd once again like to thank our customers for their patience. We're doing all we can to make sure this issue doesn't happen again. Sky Mobile, which uses O2 services, has announced plans to give its customers a day's free unlimited data today. Saturday, December the 8th. Yesterday, O2 issued a joint apology with telecoms company Ericsson over the mobile data incident. O2 UK Chief Executive Mark Evans said, "I want to let our customers know how sorry I am for the impact our network data issue had on them. We fully appreciate it's been a poor experience and we are really sorry." Marielle Lindgren, Chief Executive of Ericsson UK and Ireland, said the faulty software that has caused these issues is being decommissioned. She added Ericsson sincerely apologises to customers for this inconvenience caused. So, there we go. Compensation for O2 customers.
Alright, everybody, I do have some more questions for you this week. And as usual, you can either key up an answer or answer in the text box. So, question number 1. Galena is an ore of which metal? A. Copper, B. Lead, C. Zinc, or D. Iron?
A. Copper.
No, not copper. Does anybody else want to answer?
Silver.
It is actually lead. Alright, question number 2. Which sign of the zodiac comes between Leo and Libra? Is it A. Virgo, B. Taurus, C. Aries, or D. Capricorn?
Capricorn. Taurus.
It is actually Virgo.
I was going to key up and say that, but I didn't know if I was going to be right. Wow.
What difference does that make, Tilly? I got the question wrong when Kayla asked me it earlier.
Yeah, Tilly, you can answer anyway. It's okay. Alright, question number 3. Which planet is said to influence the way we communicate? Is it A. Venus, B. Mercury, C. Mars, or D. Saturn?
D. Saturn.
Venus.
Mars. Actually, I think it's Jupiter, but that's definitely not one of the options. But I really think it's Jupiter because Jupiter was considered a god in ancient mythology. So yeah, but if I was to choose, I would say, well, men are from Mars and women are from Venus. That's a tough one. I'm gonna say Mercury.
Yes, it is actually Mercury. That's the answer they gave me for that one. Alright, question number 4. Are you a fire, air, water, or earth sign if you were born under Aquarius? Is it A, fire, B, water, C, air, or D, earth? And I'll repeat the question one more time. Are you a fire, air, water, or earth sign if you were born under Aquarius?
Water.
Water. Water, definitely. Aquarius. Aqua. Yeah, definitely.
Water.
Right, this is confusing because I said water and I am Aquarius, and it is wrong.
Yes, I'm Aquarius as well, and that's what I thought it was too. I thought it was water as well, but they said the answer was air. So yes, I thought it was water as well. Alright, and no, not all of these questions are about the astrological signs, but question number 5. Which star sign is the first sign of the zodiac? A, Pisces, B, Capricorn, C, Taurus, or D, Aries?
Oh, definitely Aries.
Yes, I was going to say Aries too.
Aries.
Aries.
Aries, my mentor.
Very good. Yes, it is Aries. All right. Question number 6. If you were born on New Year's Day, what is your astrological sign? Is it A, Aries, B, Cancer, C, Capricorn, or D, Leo?
Aries.
Capricorn.
It's Aries.
No, I'm pretty sure it's none of the above. I'm almost certain it's Pisces. Because you figure Aries starts sometime in April.
Capricorn.
Yes, it is Capricorn. Yes, if you're starting with the month of January, the end of December until the beginning of January is Capricorn, and the end of January into the beginning of February is Aquarius. I know these questions are a little confusing, but question number 7 is the last astrological question, I promise. Alright, question number 7. What is the ruling planet of Scorpio? Is it A, Pluto, B, Venus, C, Earth, or D, Saturn?
Pluto.
I think it's Venus.
I believe that was spaced off that answer. It is Pluto. Yes, that is the answer they gave me. Alright, question number 8. At which sport in the 1960s did Peggy Fleming become a household name? Is it A, equestrian, B, tennis, C, sprinting, or D, figure skating?
Figure skating. Absolutely.
Figure skating. Figure skating. Yep.
Yeah, it's the skating of the figures on the ice thing. Yeah, figure skating.
Yes, it is figure skating. Good job. Alright, question number 9. What nationality was tennis player John Newcombe? Is it A, British, A, British, B, Canadian, C, Irish, or D, Australian?
British.
Australian, I think.
Yeah, I'm going Australian.
Yeah, he was an Aussie. Definitely. He's Australian.
Very good. Yes, Australian. All right. And last question. Question number 10. With which baseball team did Jose DiMaggio achieve icon status in the 1940s? Was it A, Chicago Bears, B, New York Yankees, C, Baltimore Batters, or D, Cleveland Steelers?
Yankees.
Definitely the Yankees.
New York Yankees.
Yes, very good, very good. Yes, it was the Yankees. Congratulations. Y'all did very well this week on your questions. Alright, and it's back to you there, Psychobagapus.
Well, there were some very interesting questions, and very surprising that I got the Aquarius one wrong, even though I am Aquarius. And I do like water and swimming, so I always thought I was a water baby. But, hey, there we go. Right, I will move on. Right, and now for a murder story. Pharmacist who throttled wife for insurance payout, jailed for life. The story is by Tom Wilkinson. Right. A gay pharmacist who mercilessly strangled his wife so he could start a new life in Australia with his boyfriend, and a £2 million life insurance payout, will serve at least 30 years, a life sentence behind bars. Greedy Mitesh Patel, 37, had plotted to kill his wife Jessica for years, and throttled her with his hands after choking her with a bag and subduing her with insulin. She fought for her life during the attack at the marital home in Middlesbrough before her husband staged a robbery, ransacking the property to make it look like an intruder had killed her. Mr. Justice Goss sentenced Patel to life and passed a minimum term of 30 years, saying, "You have no remorse for your actions. Any pity you have is for yourself." Patel made a series of fundamental errors in his plan to kill his wife, including a botched attempt to hide his house's CCTV hard drive and leaving the duct tape he used to bind her body at the pharmacy. The judge told Patel, as the police investigation progressed, the full extent of your attitude and behaviour towards Jessica over the 9 years of your marriage was revealed. She clearly loved you and was a dutiful wife. She wanted nothing more than to have children and live a normal family life. The difficulty is that you had no sexual attraction to her. You were attracted to men. Mrs. Patel was to some extent aware of her husband's sexuality, the judge said. She was lonely, often upset and controlled by you, he told Patel. With hindsight, it appears this was for your own selfish reasons and not with any intentions of making her happy. The judge told Patel he was needy and callous and used his wife while indulging your own desires and whims. Patel, who was a business-driven and wanted to retire at 40, committed murder in the expectations of gain as a result of her death, the judge said. Addressing Mr. Patel's family, he said, "I would like to end this case by expressing the condolences of the court on the very sad loss of someone who was very clearly a kind and decent person." He had earlier heard victims' statements from Mrs. Patel's grandmother, father and siblings. The victim's younger sister, Divya Patel, said the one thing we hope and prayed for above anything else was that in her final moments she did not suffer. The cruel reality is that she did in fact suffer. She knew exactly who her killer was, and he mercilessly, my word, he did without mercy ignored her attempts to fight for her own life as he ended it. We can only imagine the fear and panic she must have felt, knowing herself this was it, thinking of that moment that makes our hearts so heavy. Miss Patel also addressed her brother-in-law in the dock, saying, "We do not just pray, we know she will be free from you forever. As will she rest in heaven, you will rot in hell." She added, "Only Mitesh himself can truly answer why he did this. Everything he has done has been purely for selfish reasons. He could have divorced her, taken everything he wanted. He did not need to take her life. He had no right to take this evil, cruel and malicious step." Her father, Jantali Patel's statement said he recalled seeing a film where character's son was murdered. Mr. Patel said, "I still remember him saying, 'There is nothing more heavy than carrying your own child's coffin.' It is very true. I have felt that weight." The couple from West Yorkshire owned and ran a successful pharmacy, but their marriage was unhappy. He was regularly unfaithful with men he met on Grindr dating app, and he once told his secret lover, Dr. Amit Patel, that he married Jessica because she was in love with him and it would be a good cover for his true sexuality. In pursuit of her desire for children, Mr. Patel underwent 3 courses of IVF, and the last cycle resulted in 3 embryos being created, but she was murdered before they could be implanted. Patel's original alibi, that he had gone for a walk the night he killed her, was proved to be false, and the prosecution portrayed him as a serial liar and fantasist. The judge praised Cleveland's police's use of data from the defendant's health app on his iPhone to show his movements around the murder scene. So, there we go. Driven to murder by greed. Yes. What a sad, sad story. Yeah, anybody want to comment on that, or we'll move on to the next story from Kayla?
Alright then, my next story for you all is actually about Pearl Harbor. Yes, the attack on Pearl Harbor was a surprise military strike by the Imperial Japanese Navy Air Service against the United States Naval Base at Pearl Harbor, Hawaii Territory on the morning of December 7th, 1941. The attack, also known as the Battle of Pearl Harbor, led to the United States' entry into World War II. Japan intended the attack as a preventative action to keep the U.S. Pacific Fleet from interfering with its planned military actions in Southeast Asia against overseas territories of the United Kingdom, the Netherlands, and the United States. Over the course of 7 hours, there were coordinated Japanese attacks on the U.S.-held.
Good afternoon to everybody. I hope their day is going well.
You just cut Kayla off. She's on the show here, LBC. You can't key up.
LBC, welcome to CB Radio Drama Free Afternoon Twist. Please sit back and listen. We have some stories going on, and Kayla, if you'd like to re-queue up what you were saying and continue, please.
Yes, and again, welcome LBC. And yes, so over the course of 7 hours, there were coordinated Japanese attacks on the U.S.-held Philippines, Guam, and Walkie Island, and on the British Empire in Malaya, Singapore, and Hong Kong. The base was attacked by 353 Imperial Japanese aircraft in 2 waves, launched from 6 aircraft carriers. All 8 U.S. Navy battleships were damaged, with 4 sunk. All but the USS Arizona were later raised, and 6 were returned to service and went on to fight in the war. The Japanese also sank or damaged 3 cruisers, 3 destroyers, an anti-aircraft training ship, and 1 mine layer. 188 U.S. aircraft were destroyed, 2,403 Americans were killed, and 1,178 others were wounded. Japanese losses were light, 29 aircraft and 5 midget submarines lost, and 64 servicemen were killed. The following day, December 8th, the United States declared war on Japan, and several days later, on December 11th, Germany and Italy each declared war on the U.S. The U.S. responded with a declaration of war against Germany and Italy. There were numerous historical precedents for unannounced military action by Japan, but the lack of any formal warning, particularly while negotiations were still apparently ongoing, led President Franklin D. Roosevelt to proclaim December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy. Well, I don't think that any of us were alive to tell us about that day, but does anybody remember their parents or grandparents telling them stories about Pearl Harbor? Does anybody want to share anything about that?
I can remember seeing the film, but that's about it.
My grandfather was there during World War II. He was stationed in Okinawa, and he participated, and he was also stationed in Hawaii, and he was a part of that. He was a aviation mechanic, and it was, some of the stories he told were crazy.
Well, I can only imagine. Yes, I had a couple family members who, both my grandfathers served in World War II. My dad's father got one of those stars, gold stars or whatever they're called, from World War II, and unfortunately I never got to meet him, but yes, I can only imagine what it was like.
I remember it's like way before my time. I remember that. It's because I'm a young fella, and I think it's like, I think World War.
Okay, we lost your transmission, Pink Sparkles. If you'd like to go again, and welcome to the Afternoon Twist on CB Radio Drama Free, live on Twitch and YouTube.
I think it was way before my time, Pearl Harbor was, and so I kind of don't remember too much about it, or a lot about it, but I think I think schools have talked about it, like in history classes and stuff, but I don't remember too much about it.
I was going to say my great-grandfather was injured during World War One. He actually lost an eye because of a piece of shrapnel from a artillery cartridge. Got in his eye, and he lost it because of it. Right. So that was a strange sight. Every time he uncovered his eye, ooh. Right. Now, we all love a royal story. I'm not sure. I think even the Americans love a royal story. I've got one about Kate and Wills. Right, so that's Kate Middleton and Prince William. They have a snowball fight with military families. Right. The Duke and Duchess of Cambridge paid tribute to military families coping with being apart from loved ones for Christmas by hosting a festive party. William, 36, and Kate welcomed more than 200 wives, girlfriends, parents and grandparents to Kensington Palace, where a Christmas grotto was created for children to make crackers, decorate stockings, or make chocolate truffles. A snow machine helped set the festive scene. The Duchess, 36, told guests, "As someone whose husband served, I know how hard it feels when a loved one leaves home to do the job they trained for." She said William, an ex-RAF helicopter pilot, served in the Falklands for 6 weeks in 2012. But she added, "I can't imagine how it feels when your loved ones go away on active service over Christmas."
Yeah, well, in that time, did people die? I'm just wondering because I don't remember too much about it. Maybe I need to research it.
Yeah, so Christmas is approaching. There's still military people still away. And it's hard on wives and children and husbands, and so that's my Christmas story for this week. Yes. Okay, Kayla, how do you feel about the royal family?
Well, I don't really know too much about them, actually. I don't really follow the whole political and line of life. So I really don't know a whole lot about them.
Same here. I don't do all that political stuff that much either to know too much about the stuff you guys are talking about, but I was just
Okay, right, transmission cut out. Someone is having issues. Right, I'll move on to the sports section. Right. Arsenal staff faces dressing down as nitrous oxide video emerges. Arsenal's say they will remind players of their responsibilities after a video emerged that appears to show a number of Gunners stars inhaling nitrous oxide. Stars including Mesut Ozil, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, Alexandre Lacazette and Matteo Guendouzi feature in the video, which appears to come from nightclub CCTV footage and was published by The Sun. In a statement, Arsenal said the players will be spoken to about this and reminded of their responsibilities as representatives of the club. Nitrous oxide, also known as laughing gas or hippie crack, is freely available but is technically illegal to sell it for recreational purposes. In a video which reportedly comes from a London venue shortly before the start of the current season, other Gunners players, including Henrik Mkhitaryan, can be seen rejecting the offer to use the gas. The footage is the latest in a series of incidents linking top players with nitrous oxide, with Raheem Sterling being warned by Liverpool after footage emerged of him using the substance in 2015. In the same year, Jack Grealish was warned by Aston Villa manager Tim Sherwood after pictures emerged of him appearing to inhale the gas. And Sadio Barahino was reprimanded by West Brom for a similar incident in 2014. When an image was posted of Kyle Walker in 2013, he apologised on Twitter, writing, "I won't be doing this again and hope that no one else is influenced into putting their health at risk by my actions." Arsenal began the season with 2 defeats, but have been in excellent form under new manager Unai Emery since the Gunners are unbeaten in 20 matches in all competitions and taken on Huddersfield in the Premier League on Sunday. The Gunners' only losses were the season opening defeats to Manchester City and Chelsea in August. Their forthcoming run of fixtures against Huddersfield, Southampton, Burnley and Brighton appears favourable before their final game of the calendar year at Liverpool on December 29th. Emery, though, had a 2-word reposit when asked about the winnable sequence, saying only "the next." Speaking prior to publications of the nitrous oxide story, Emery had already explained past results and future results mean little. With the Terriers clash his sole focus. "We need a high level in our performance to win against them," the Spaniard said. Despite a long unbeaten sequence, Emery wants Arsenal to be more difficult to score against. In the same year, Jack Grealish was warned by... Oh, hang on. Right. So, footballers caught taking illegal substances. I'm sure it happens in sports over in America as well. Yeah, I agree with you, Todd. Okay, I am going to continue the sports theme, and I'm going to go over to my special football reporter, recorded earlier on. Here is a roundup from Alan.
And now on the afternoon twist, I'm going to go over to my sports correspondent, Alan, who's got some football results for us, UK football results. Over to Alan.
Yeah, thank you, Psycho Bagpuss, for that. Premier League from yesterday, the results from yesterday. Bournemouth 0, Liverpool 4, Liverpool are top, which isn't really a concerning scoreline, although for Bournemouth yet again they're letting in 4. Burnley 1, Brighton 0. Now that was a surprise result from yesterday. Burnley's run of form has not been great, and they've slipped down the table a bit. So that's a valuable 3 points for them. Man United 4, Fulham 1. We're down to 10 men. Again, no real surprise with that result, however, given Man United's recent form and controversially the way they're playing. It's a bit of a turn up for the books, especially the level of the scoreline. They've not been noted for 4-1 victories for quite a while. But there we go. Arsenal 1, Huddersfield 0. Again, that's not really much of a surprise. Everybody's expecting Arsenal to beat Huddersfield. But Arsenal back on track after a midweek blip against Man United when they drew 2s each. Cardiff 1, Southampton 0. Now that again is a surprise. Southampton fans must be a little bit concerned about their slide down the table. Especially having just recently sacked the manager Mark Hughes, and again that immediate bounce of a new manager coming in doesn't really look like it's taken effect. West Ham 3, Palace 2. Again, not really a surprise. West Ham are on a good run of form recently. They beat Newcastle 3-0 last week, so that keeps that run going. Back-to-back wins is always a bonus. Chelsea 2, Man City 0. That one was a surprise. I wasn't expecting that. Especially with Man City's unbeaten run. I think that was 16 games they went unbeaten and then slipped up, keeping Liverpool on top, but only by a point, so it's still fairly tight. And of course, Leicester, the last one, Leicester City 0, Spurs 2. Again, there's no real shock there.
Wow. Yes, West Ham. My brother supports West Ham, and yes, he was following that match quite closely. I am surprised with Chelsea, though. Definitely Chelsea. To get the 2-0 victory over Manchester City. But there is some important games coming up, I do believe.
Well, it's always a busy time for fixtures around about Christmas period. You've got sort of midweek games for the Premier League, and then you had the FA Cup in the new year, which is coming up rapidly. So it's a busy time for every sort of Premier League club and Championship club, especially when they have 46 games a season. It can take its toll. Today's game, however, is Newcastle United versus Wolverhampton Wanderers. The kick-off is at 4 o'clock today. And that's at St James's Park, and it's also live on Sky Sports 1. So if the US football fans want to tune in, try and find out who your provider is, and find Sky Sports 1 or an alternative one. And so our game's today, and I will be off to that.
Hey, Rattlesnake 1, I need you to hit me in a private chat on Zello. Thank you.
Thank you for joining the Afternoon Twist on CB Radio Drama Free. The Afternoon Twist show going live on Twitch and YouTube. Thank you for joining us, and we'll return back to Alan.
Well, in the crowd, are you going to be wearing something that says ROC, maybe? Yes, 4 o'clock kickoff, Newcastle United, Wolverhampton Wanderers. I'm hoping for a Newcastle United win there. I see that the FA Women's Super League, Manchester City Women and Birmingham City Women has just kicked off with 3 minutes into the game. No score so far.
Oh, excellent. I don't know much about women's football at the moment, but I will be keeping an eye on Durham City, because I know they have a side, and that's about 15 miles down the road from me. So I'll keep an eye out for Durham. I think they're in WSPL2, I think that is, Women's Premier League, League 2, just a part-time side, so I'll keep an eye out for Durham. But yeah, we play today against Wolverhampton Wanderers at St James's Park, and few facts for you. Newcastle haven't lost in 6 league, and that's top flight meetings between us and Wolves, winning 2, drawing 4, and the last league meeting was in the 25th of February 2012. With a 2-2 draw there. Wolves are winless against Newcastle in 15 top-flight ties at St James's Park, losing 10 of them since a 4-3 victory in 1959. So the form book is with us. However, being a Newcastle fan, it's never that easy. And Newcastle's form going into this fixture, last 6 games, we've won 3, drawn 2, lost 1, and we're 5th in the form table. Whereas Wolves is a little bit more troublesome. 1-1, drawn 1, lost 4. And they're 15th, so they'll be wanting to try and correct this pretty quickly.
Alan, you said Durham women. They have a 12 o'clock kickoff, and it's against Manchester United women. Now, do the Manchester United women play as well as the Manchester United male team? And could that be a problem match for them, do you think?
I think Man United's women's side, there's a lot more resources going into Old Trafford, so I would presume that it would be a very troublesome fixture for Durham, being that I think Durham are only a part-time side. However, having said that, we have a few that have came through the ranks here that have gone on to be England internationals, Steph Houghton being one of them. She came from sort of Durham way on, and Sunderland. So, there's a good, rich, sort of better talented in the northeast for football, not just men's football, but women's in general. It can be a troublesome fixture, this one. I'm expecting Durham to get beat. I really am. I just think there's more resources getting flung at Man United than what there certainly is at Durham. And as I said, they're part-time, so they'll have work to do as well as play football.
Well, thank you very much for your roundup, and fingers crossed for the game today. We'll catch up with you next time.
Yeah, thanks very much, Psycho Bagpuss, and to everybody, enjoy the show.
Right, there we go. That's the sports from Alan. Kayla, you have a sports story for us, don't you? Kayla? Yeah, okay. Right. Here we go. Right. Sicilian Godfather among 46 held in Mafia Roundup. The alleged head of Sicilian Mafia is among 46 people held in an extraordinary police operation. Settimo Mineo, who was said to have become the boss of bosses after the death of Salvatore Toto Riina, was arrested in the raid. Based on wiretaps, police said clan leaders in Sicilian capital Palermo elected the 80-year-old as the head at a meeting on May 29th. Those held are suspected of mafia association, extortion, weapons violations, and other charges. Chief anti-mafia prosecutor Caffiero di Raho said Mino's rise showed the centre of power in the Sicilian mafia had shifted to Palermo from Corleone, the town made famous by The Godfather. Right, so someone has been arrested, and I do have an update on the Leicester City helicopter crash. I'll just Rob, do you have anything?
Yes, I do. Give me 1 second. I do have a sports story for everybody. It is about the Giants tight end Evan Ingram returning from hamstring injury this week. New York Giants tight end Evan Ingram is set to return today against the Washington Redskins after missing the past 2 games with a hamstring injury. Ingram was a full participant in practice Thursday and Friday. He wasn't given an official injury designation for the contest, indicating the team expects him to be available to play. Linebackers B.J. Goodson and Tay Davis are questionable for today. Star wide receiver Odell Beckham Jr. was added to the injury report. He was limited in Friday's practice but is expected to play. He suffered the injury 2 weeks ago on the final play against the Eagles. Ingram felt his hamstring pull during warm-ups before the game against the Eagles. He was active for that contest but did not play a snap. He also sat out last week's overtime win over the Bears. His role against the Redskins is expected to be primarily as a passing down option. The second-year tight end's playing time was already decreasing prior to the injury. He had played just 47% of the snaps in the 2 games coming out of the bye week, considerably less than the close to the 90% of the snaps he was playing earlier this year. Alright, that's my sports story for this week, and back to you, Psycho Bagpuss.
Right, if you can remember, a few weeks ago I told you about the helicopter crash at Leicester City. Well, there's been an update. Failed a rotor pedal caused Leicester City copter crash. Story by Mark Cardwell. A helicopter carrying Leicester City chairman crashed when a pedal controlling the tail rotor became disconnected, a reporters revealed. Billionaire Vichai Shradranhaprappa, 60, and 4 others were killed in the crash outside the club's Kings Power Stadium after a Premier League match. The Augusta Westland AW169 they were travelling in entered an uncontrollable spin seconds after takeoff from the pitch following the game against West Ham on October 27th. An Air Incidents Investigation Branch report found this was caused when a pedal controlling the tail rotor became disconnected. The tail rotor system was first inspected at the crash site. The report said this identified that the input lever mechanism was not attached to the control shaft. The pin, spacers, and one of the locating bearings were missing from the lever. The locking nut and pin carrier were found loose in the tail rotor fairing and were bonded together. They should have been separate components. The failure of the rotor caused the helicopter to violently veer to the right, which led to it crashing in a fireball, the report concluded. Also killed in the crash were the Thai football's boss's assistants, Kavanporn Punpa and Nusara Sukanami, 33, the pilot Eric Swaffer, 53, and his 46-year-old partner Isabella Rosa Lekovic. The 8-page report. The 8-page report recommended 5 safety requirements be made to the AW169 helicopters to prevent future tragedies. Right. I am now going to move on to my quote for the week. And I found a good one for us this time. Right. Starting today, I need to forget what's gone. Appreciate what still remains and look forward to what's coming next. That is my quote for this week. And over to Kayla. You've got some more stories for us? Okay. First baby is born from dead donor womb swap by Stephen Beach. The first baby has been born using a uterus transplanted from a dead donor in a groundbreaking case that may offer hope to women with uterine infertility. A girl weighing about 6 pounds and showing no signs of abnormalities was born via caesarean section to a 30-year-old woman in Brazil, it has been reported. Her mother was born without a uterus but received one in September 2016 from a 45-year-old donor who had died of a stroke involving a bleed on the brain. The mother underwent a course of IVF, and her baby was delivered at 35 weeks and 3 days into her pregnancy, according to The Lancet. She and the baby were discharged from hospital 3 days after the birth. Infertility affects up to 15% of couples of reproductive age. 1 in 500 women has uterine abnormalities that are congenital, the result of malformation, a hysterectomy or infection. Current uterus donation is only available for women with relatives willing to donate. There have been 11 live births from 39 transplants involving live donors, with the first in Sweden in 2013. There have been 10 unsuccessful attempts worldwide with dead donors. Study leader Dr. Danny Esjesenberg of Universidade del Sao Paulo in Brazil said deceased donors could greatly broaden access to this treatment. She added, this first uterus transplants from live donors were a medical milestone, creating the possibility of childbirth for many infertile women with access to suitable donors and the needed medical facilities. However, the need for a live donor is a major limitation, as donors are rare, typically being willing and eligible family members are or Okay, so I'm unkeyed. Right, okay. At what point did that happen? Okay, so with this, a quick shout out to the streams, those following us on Twitch, on YouTube, and unless there's anything further, I will say that is it for this week, and I'll see you all next week. Thank you. Oh, yes. News in. We are against Article 13. Repeat, we are against Article 13. This will severely limit the ability to use Twitch, YouTube, and any other We are against Article 13. And why does my mic keep cutting out? Yes, we are definitely against Article 13. Okay, so thank you very much for joining us on the Afternoon Twist. I'm Psychobagpus and Kayla. We say goodbye for you for this week, and we'll hope you will join us again next week. This has been a CB Radio drama-free production, part of the Zello Radio Network.
Very good, guys.